Hello and welcome to a little bit of a different Ultimate Decades Challenge video. Somebody just asked me if I could go over my spreadsheet and how I keep it all organized. And I said yes, but before I get to my spreadsheet, I actually have to go back to where it started. I will link this below, but this is Morbid's Ultimate Decades Challenge. Also, this is a work in progress. So if you download this, which is what I did at the very beginning. I just came over and I downloaded it, or I made a copy of it to my own Google Drive so that I wouldn't have to find this all the time. Well, the problem is that as she updates and changes it, it doesn't change my copy that I downloaded. So I removed my copy, and every time I need anything, I will tell you this, that if you use her link, her spreadsheet that she links, which I'll tell you how to do that in a second, right up here at the very top of the first page that says info, it says DC rules here, and it links you straight to this ultimate guide. So you don't have to go try to find it or do whatever. It's always right there. Now, I am not going through and reading all this stuff. I did a lot of this reading this stuff before we started the whole thing. And when I saw this example of the timeline, I was so confused and had no idea what I was looking at. It was not until I started playing it myself that I finally realized. Okay, so this is the example of her info chart as well. And this was confusing to me too. What helped me was when I finally got her actual spreadsheet. So I'm not going back through all of this. This explains everything about how you break down and how you start the game at the very beginning. I've still not figured out how to do these portraits because I've watched her do it and I know how, but she uses Photoshop to do it, and I don't have Photoshop, so I just haven't done it. But anyway, here are the start of the challenge and everything that you need to do. This is the part that I keep this for. We are right now on my playthrough in the 1300s. And so this is a separate thing from the 1400s, of course, and all the way down. So this is what I'm going to be looking at later, is the 1400s. Now, it does say there have been changes by Morbid since you last viewed this file, because I have not looked at the 1400s. When I did, there was nothing here. Now she has a lot more things on here, including, wow, a lot more illnesses, and not illnesses, but things that happen. And so none of these were here. None of these events were here the last time I looked at it. So I like this. I like that the death rolls have changed a little bit. I'm probably still going to keep mine similar, add in an extra teen year, but I do like this. So those of you who have been watching, we no longer have the 9 and 19 in the children, so maybe more of my children will live if I don't roll a 19. Okay, anyway, that doesn't matter. I just wanted to show you how to find it. What really matters is at the very top of this form, right under here, she has original challenge is by Zombie Cleo, so you can look at the link to see about that challenge, and then my spreadsheet link, and this is where you want to go. Now, the one thing I'll tell you, this looks a lot like mine. Like here's hers, and here, well, okay, that's not true. Here's mine, okay? So here's what hers looks like at the beginning. Here's what mine looks like at the beginning. So you can see that I just literally took what she had and I erased everything. I made a copy of it, my own copy. I erased everything that she had in here, which at this point, she's been playing for so many years that this is how long her thing is all the way down here. So you can look and see. I know she's in 1776 right now as I'm filming. And so you can like literally see where she is right now and whose birthdays it is and all of that stuff if you are following along with her. Over to the side, she has her death rolls. It's exactly the same thing that I have done. If you scroll all the way down to where I am, my death rolls are right here, which I have just made this a little bit smaller. She has hers like stretched out. Otherwise, I literally just copied her thing. Now, when you copy it, you have to make sure that you copy all of the things at the bottom. So this is hers down here. She's got her timeline first, but then she's got the info. This is that same page. Now, I have gone through and taken the color off when my people die so that I know who's alive and I know what I'm looking at as I scroll down. Now, I like the way her thing looks. Here's all of her people all the way down to where she is right now. 11th generation in 1776. Wow. That is a lot of stuff and a lot of people. And it looks like they've gone all over the place. They've got British people, and I just saw Korean people. Hold on. It is everywhere. British, French, Native American, Irish, more French, more Native American, Scottish, Korean, Spanish. So yeah, there are a lot of different races or nationalities represented in her thing. She also, these charts come with it as well. And this is what's so funny to me. So these are the total numbers. She said 217 female and 235 male. And they're really close, 48 and 52. And that's what I've noticed about mine, is it might seem like we're having a lot of girls and then it might seem like we're having a lot of boys, but it ends up like averaging out in the end. And anyway, here are her number of people and how old they were when they died. She does have a separate category for infant and baby and toddler. That is something that I did not do. And I'll explain to you in just a second the difference in what she does and what I've done. So here's all of her nationalities. Yes, the majority of them are British because that's where she started. But then this pie chart looks really cool with everybody else. And then the number of offspring per generation. I don't know if I have this chart on mine. I guess it looks like this. Oh, I do have it. I just didn't realize it made a chart. I've been adding the numbers to this. Let me see. This is what my pie chart looks like right now. And I am a little bit ahead in male than female, just like she is, but not that much. This one generation chart is over here. Does that also mean that I have a pie chart I haven't paid attention to? No. Okay. So I guess she took this and turned it into a chart, which I can totally do. I just don't know how, but I can totally figure out how to do it. And that's what I can do. Anyway, I really like it. It looks really cool. She is at generation 12. Generation 11 had 71 offspring. So she definitely consistently moved up and up from her generations. Okay, that's not really what we're doing here either, except to say that all I did was take exactly what she did, and that's what I did. So we'll talk about the life stage in just a second. Let's look at the rest of this. This is a family tree. I do not use this anymore because we have everybody here in the sim info and I have all their birthday kind of things on the timeline. I do not use the family tree thing anymore that she set up. I did at the beginning, but this is what she has in there. And all it is a copy of exactly what you were doing before. First generation, and then all of her second gen. She had 4 second gens that had children. And then she had 4 third gens that had children, and so forth and so on, down like that, the 5th generation and then the 6th and so on. So that's how you keep up with it if that's what you want to do. I just decided I had all that information and I didn't need it again. So then over here on the marriage and babies, I started out doing this the same way. I had boy names, girl names, then she's got French, Scottish, Spanish, Korean, Native, Egyptian, and Russian maybe. I decided also not to do this page just because it's not hard right now for me to put everything in my timeline. Like it looks like she might make notes to herself too over here. I can't exactly tell what's happening in all of these little things to the side right here, but this is where I make my notes about, like right here, she wrote kilts become legal. That's really funny. But so that's the same thing I do, is that George Washington dies, King George dies. I've put these things, the same kinds of things over on my side, but that's where I put family events. Like so-and-so's going to get married and this person will try for a baby, and all of that goes over here so that if I know one of my characters will go to mine and I can show you. Like if I know Denise is going to have baby tries and I roll and it says she's going to get 7 tries, then I go ahead and I put Denise try for a baby in here 7 times, and I spread them out between 7 to 8 days. So that gives her time to get pregnant, have the baby, which generally takes 3 to 4 days, and gives her time for the baby to be there for a little while before the next baby's born. So that is generally what I do, just so they're not having babies like every 4 days. And so that's why I decided on 7 or 8 days. It doesn't matter. And that way I can space them out also a little bit, because we have a lot of people married and we have a lot of people having babies. And I didn't want it to constantly be 3 people in this one day try for a baby and then nobody tries the next 2 days. So I can just space them out. So that's what I've been doing. And that's how it works over here. Like we have Ingrid, who I think did get 7 tries. And so she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left. So that's how I do it and how it works on mine. I just use this info panel for info about my family, and then I don't need this section in the marriage and the future weddings because I put all of that over there. Now, if there is a person that I know I want to get married to my family, then I may have to start using this section, especially because now as I am starting to do future planning for other countries and where people are going to live for all of that, I also got a list of French names that one of our viewers who is from France gave me. And so I've been putting them over here, and I decided that what I would just do is I'm going to put all the names that you guys have suggested on this page. And then I don't have to have my notebook next to me with all the names in it, and I don't have to keep writing the names in there. I can just bring the names over here and put them in here whenever you guys suggest a name. So that's what I'm going to be doing going forward for the names. As far as the having babies, like I don't think I even need this column. I just left it here because of that. So I think that's it. The other stuff, she has farming, which is generally just this page right here. And I'm not following this because we had so many issues with our garden or whatever. And so I think I might do this going forward though. I love this part that you had poor soil, great soil, crops blight, and a bug zone. But I need to go back and read the rules because I don't know what happens once you roll the D4 during that season. What does that mean? Like, what does it mean if you have poor soil? Do you only get a few crops? If the crops blight, do you not get any? Like, I need to go back and look in her things. But this is a cool thing to start doing now that I have gotten the plants fixed. And so that's something that I definitely want to do going forward. But right now on my farming, it does just look just like hers because all I've done is copied it and then I just left it here. I haven't done anything else to it since then. And so I do think I am going to start checking this, like checking what season it is and what we're growing and how all of that's going. And then maybe I'll figure out what these mean and start using those in whatever our next season is. I think we're in spring right now. So I think for summer, I will start the roll for the season and see how the soil is doing or how the crops are going to do. Anyway, then she has the war and the events. And so it looks like for the Black Plague, 3 people contracted it. Wow, it was way worse in the 1300s for my family. But then right here, she's got the people who died when they were moving to America, and then another round of the Black Plague, and then who was accused at the Salem witch trials, French Black Plague, Boston smallpox outbreak. So she has a lot of things down here for where she's playing, but she's playing all the way from the 1500s to I think she started in 1550. I think that's when she started. So she has all of her stuff here, and I guess she's just adding more things down here as she goes because these are not in mine. She does have all the way through to here. So I guess she has been adding more events in there. And I added the Black Plague over here like this, but I haven't gone through and put everybody's name of everybody who died yet. I do have the 3 people who went to the war and they all lived. And then the 1 person who went to war the second time and then he died from the plague, which is why he's over here. So I do need to go through and put everybody else who died over here. Then we have the 3rd set of the 100 Years' War, part 3. Well, part 1.3, and Adrian went and he lived. So the next thing that's coming up in the 1360s is the second part of the 100 Years' War. And then there's nothing for the 1400s because she just didn't have it ready yet. So I'm just going to scoot all these down and add whatever 1400 events she has in there under notes, and I will keep up with that. So that is how it goes. That is what my timeline looks like. And I will tell you the main thing about doing this. The person who asked about it, she said that that hers seems to be overly complicated. This is another thing that I do is once I roll for someone to have a baby, like we'll use Francine and Arthur as an example. I rolled for her to have 7 babies. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5, 6, 7. So I went ahead, I put her husband right here, and then I gave her 7 spots underneath there. Now that doesn't always work because up here for Jewel, wait, where is she? Right here. For Flora, she rolled to have 6 children. And she had Simon and Solomon as a set of twins. So that doesn't count as 2 children. That counts as 1 pregnancy. So she was going to get pregnant 6 times. So she got pregnant 3 times before her husband died. And so she's going to get remarried to Wallace and get pregnant 3 times. So if she has twins, I will just have to shift this down 1 and give her another line. But for the most part, it works because people don't have a lot of multiples. And so like the Archers, they've got 2 babies left. The Goodwins have 4 babies left. And Aurora is done. Adrian and Aurora are done. And you can see who else? Mary Clark and Victor Lane. Mary and Victor are done. So that's just how it happens based on how they roll. And that is how I keep up with that. So like Jeremiah married Ingrid, and this is how many kids they still have. And then this is blank down here because they haven't gotten married or rolled or whatever. And so I just leave, this is exactly what was in here when I copied it over. I didn't change anything. I didn't do anything. So some of them are super little and some of them are a lot bigger, but I didn't change any of that. I literally just erased the stuff that she had written in there and I started putting my own stuff in there. So, oh yeah, she gave us a list of causes of death as well over here. I think that is it. If there are any other questions or anything that you guys have about how this works, I do leave this linked down in the description. However, I usually, especially towards the end of this year, I'm going to be filming quite a bit ahead of what you're seeing. So you might get spoiled if you come over here and I've given Andrew and Bella another child. And you'll be like, oh, they had another baby and it died or whatever. So you'll definitely be able to see that if you come over here and look at the way the timeline goes. So the only other thing I've done is I copied this also from Morbid. Every one of the heirs are completely boxed out like that. So there's boxes around Hugh because he was the heir. There's boxes around John. And there are boxes around Kellen, who is our current heir right now. So once they lose that, and like if Kellen doesn't become the heir, because technically he's not married yet and he doesn't have any children, so I'll just erase it. If for something happens to him and we have to pass it down to Oliver or Quentin or Edmund or Elijah. We have a lot of people in line for this to be the heir. So I think that's it. That's all I can think of that I would want to know if I were doing this. Like I said, this is all thanks to Morbid. I literally just copied what she had already done. Now, what I did do to save me from having to do this, because you can see right now that she has to scroll all the way down here to find her current place where she's playing. And so what I did is I took my original timeline, which looks like this, and you have to scroll down to find where I was. And I made another one called Timeline 2, and I literally just cut it off right at 1363. As soon as I finished filming it, I cut it off at 1363. So now, as soon as I pull this up, I can still go here to my regular timeline, the whole thing, but timeline 2 starts me right here, and I don't have to do all that scrolling. I'm just right here at the top. So that's all I've done outside of what she's done. And I will say that if you do this and you're worried about the timeline or worried about any of this stuff, keep it as simple as you possibly can. However, update it every time something changes. Every time somebody has a birthday, go ahead and put their next birthday in there. Every time somebody is born, put their name in there as being born. Do not do the thing to yourself where you're like, I'll update it later, and then you're stuck trying to figure out what's going on because you've got too many people to update and you can't tell who everybody is and all of the rest of that. I did that to myself one time with pictures, because when I take the screenshots of everybody's faces, if I have too many of them backed up in there, I don't know who they are, especially if there's somebody who dies. I don't get used to looking at their face. And so there have been a couple of times where I've had to go back and watch a video to find out who the person was that I took the screenshot of, because I didn't immediately go through my screenshots. So that is going to do it for my explanation of the spreadsheet on the Morbid's Ultimate Decades Challenge. Let me know if you have any questions. Please, as always, Morbid stuff is linked below, and she has done an amazing job with this. So go check out all of her stuff, and I will specifically link this document that has everything for the Decades Challenge in the link to this video, and you guys can go find it there. I will see you in my next one. Bye.